the best fans in the world, and I'm going to put on a show. Let's go, Dublin!
That's the Ivory Coast. That's the Ivory Coast. It's very
Who thinks this guy's a batty boy?
Silva, why you ain't here supporting your punk ass son?
Danny Aaron!
Simon Medal, I'll accept that.
This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on DAZN. Look who it is. Showtime.
How are you, Oscar?
Sonny Edwards. I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Can't complain. Can't complain.
What's it like for you being around the Misfits fight week?
I like it. I mean, I'll be real. I gave the press conference a miss today. I don't know. There was a lot of egos in the room yesterday. There was some geezer at one point shouting that I'm in a room full of people that can't fight. Whoa. I stood next to Pat Barrett. Could you imagine? I had to pull Pat back. Well, Pat back. It's not your fight. Not your fight.
Yeah, not two people to try and put that to the test against, especially if you're in the influencer scene. But hey ho. Be right in Dublin, going around the gyms, doing a bit of sparring, chopping it up.
Yeah, the last 3 days. Got some good work in, some good rounds in. Sparred, I think, Jerry Hughes, I think his name is, if I pronounced it right. Connor Quinn, who's been an old sparring partner of me before. Sparred some rounds with Giorgio yesterday. We had some great work. It was a pleasure to share a ring with someone so talented. And today, Paul Luman and another lad, I didn't catch his name, but I told him to message me, so I'll get him. But yeah, great work.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to Giorgio about the work that you two done, and the words he used was, he's a slippery little fucker.
Yeah, that's what I usually get, especially when they're a bit heavier than me, you know what I mean? They're a little bit slower, but I'll be real.
Is that a good excuse for being given the runaround by Sonny Edwards?
As far as speed goes, though, Giorgio's right up there, man. It was fantastic work. And I'll be real, he really did finish on top. I'll be real. He's spiteful. As slippery as I am, he's spiteful. Very spiteful. And once he starts finding his range, he's a nightmare to be in the ring with, honestly.
Yeah. Well, what we've seen so far in the pro game from Giorgio, I guess people will take what you say as a given. I want to ask you one thing. So I know, obviously, I always try to get hold of you for interviews. You're a man that people want to hear talk. It's never the easiest. I know you're a busy man. Has your relationship with the media as a whole changed over the last couple of years?
Nah.
I'm just wondering if, since you've been a world champion, will become a world champion again, if things have kind of changed as you've become more of an experienced professional and perhaps you know the scene a little bit more.
Nah, I don't know if anything's changed. I've got a good relationship with all the guys, including yourself, Oscar. But if I'm honest, I don't know. I think maybe first 3, 4, 5 years of your career, when you're coming through or coming up, like, you know, you're at venues or press conferences and media, and if someone pulls you and asks for an interview, it's like a little buzz, and when they don't, you're a little bit like, yo, what's going on? And you're conscious of it. I think now, I'll be real, Oscar, I don't know if this comes across big-headed, I don't mean it to, but more, I don't feel the necessary need to try and capture any relevance or attention. I feel like, you know, I'm sort of in that bracket now where people speak. If something's going on about me worth speaking about, people speak about it. So, I don't know, I get sick of getting asked the same questions and answering the same questions. So, until I've got something really worth talking about it and I'm ready to talk about it, then... And I don't do Zoom interviews. So, unless you're putting yourself in front of me, like, how many times have you asked me for an interview? I've actually said no. Really.
In person, never.
I would have thought it would have been like once or twice when I'm knocking that out. I'm on the way out, I'm on the exit, I've done all my interviews.
You're trying to leave
Oscar,
after a fight night or something, maybe. Yeah.
Or I'm here all fight week and I'm saying, Oscar, get me tomorrow, man. You know what I mean? So
Yes, son, biggie top.
they don't realise the legends are off camera that's giving the big ups. They don't realise.
Can we get you for 2 seconds?
Oh.
Please.
No, it's all about me, man. The legends have had their
If the legend says it's
turn.
all about Sonny, it's all about Sonny. Best
You know what I
believe
mean?
that.
Prince Naz, man, what a legend, man, and what a pleasure to spend the week around as well. Real good guy, an inspiration, a legend outside of boxing, someone that made it way past the confines of boxing and relevance, I guess, in boxing. But Yeah, man. Prince Naz a legend, so big ups.
I'd love to know what you can get out of speaking to Naz. Like, I'm sure as a boxing fan, you'd love to sit there and talk about his memories and whatnot. But as a fighter, what can you get from speaking to Naz? Like, what sort of details are you pulling when you're having these chats with people?
Do you know what's crazy? I'll be real. I've been good friends with his sons way before I met him. I met him in Dubai when I fought over there, and I was sort of in fight mode. I was headlining over there, and just him being there was a little buzz. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that now, you know, I'm comfortable enough to go and, you know, crash his table quickly, have a little conversation, it's a buzz, really, you know. I don't know. I guess people like me, I don't think ever should have been in a place where they're feeling so comfortable around people like Naz. You know what I mean? He's a legend. He's someone that everyone grew up watching. Like I said, I've been friends with his sons for a few years now, and you know, he's, I don't know, been aware of that, I guess, and yeah, and I think he likes it. I think he likes that, you know, his boys are mixing in the right crowds in boxing, and they have been since I've known them. They've been in the right gyms, they've been putting in the work in, and now you've got Adam, who's, you know, 2-0 as a pro, and you've got Sammy, who's making his Misfits debut, and, you know, neither of them had the amateur background. They was kept away from boxing more than sort of, you know, been brought up and grown up in boxing gyms like I have. So anything I can ever give them, any advice I can ever offer them, they know where I am, and they use it. I speak to them, you know, fairly often. So yeah, shout out to the brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think there's any man that commands the respect that Naz does, even getting an applause before the press conference today. That is the epitome of a legend. Right, the cut. You can still see it a little bit, but if
Oscar.
If you're sparring,
you're actually trying to be nice, there, isn't it?
Well, it's noticeable. But then again, you probably look at,
when
you see yourself in the mirror, do you look directly at the cut?
Now, I'll be
so
right.
I'm looking at Sonny Edwards, you're probably seeing the cut every day, like, fuck.
The biggest difference, I think, is I'm more confident maintaining eye contact with a woman for a little bit longer now. You know what I mean?
Well, at first, when you got the cut, was you a bit kind of
No, I'm talking about before the cut.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it adds a bit of character to my face.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a story.
Yeah.
I got a few.
You look like a hard man.
Something like that.
Pretty basic question in terms of wording. When are we going to see you in the ring?
I'm not sure.
Do you actually not know, genuinely?
I mean, we've mentioned, and we've had conversations, but until my opponent's confirmed, until, you know, he's accepted and agreed, then we're kind of talking about nothing, really. It's anything can change, and I try not to get my hopes up too much. Too often I've had dates, I've started camps, I'm expecting massive fight, and 7 weeks even later of starting camp and training for a fight, 6 weeks out, 7 weeks out of a big fight, it's now not happening. So yeah, I've learned to sort of not get my hopes up and just deal with it as it comes. And I want a big fight, and I really want to bring a big fight to the UK. There's not many out there apart from what I bring to the table. So yeah, hopefully we get something over the line soon worth talking about.
Yeah. Well, on Sunday, it's September now. I don't know how long you would consider a camp to be, I don't know, 10, 12 weeks, but it's September on Sunday. So it isn't far off the point where you could be looking at Q1 next year. And I know you want to fight before the end of the year.
Well, if it's the fight they've been talking about, if it don't happen this year, it's not happening for a while.
100%.
I'm not... My brother, in this same family dispute, stalled 9 months of his career at a time, 6 months of his career at a time. That's facts. Charlie had the fight of Cal Made on his side and was getting told by both their mutual promoter that it's happening on multiple occasions, and I know that because I lived it. I am not having the same happen to me. And as far as A and B side goes, I can dig my heels in and show everyone that I'm the A side. I can also probably make things happen that, you know, if they don't fight me, I'm actually maybe going to keep them. Like, who else is there to fight? They ain't got no other options right now. That's why we're still here. They don't want to fight me, not now. And I can kind of see why, because at the same time, it's a bit embarrassing that a big fight for me is against a 7-0 kid, Oscar. You know what I mean?
But is that embarrassing, though? We're talking about Team GB, an Olympian. Yes, in the professional game, you've achieved what you've achieved, but...
It's a different sport, just because...
And the pool is a lot smaller in the UK. But you haven't got 15
Oscar,
domestic fights on the table.
Oscar, I know your perspective will be very different to mine. But if you ask my perspective, yeah, and I'm taking out the sensitivity of, you know, being friendly in certain areas of this conversation. Someone I beat in 2015 and then was schooling in sparring then because of his relationships and his family's relationships with the coaches and the decision makers on GB, got sent to the qualifiers, and then he qualified, and then got favoured and got sent to another Olympics, and then went and won his medal in the second one. Now, in 2024, you are offering me a fight against someone that I've had his number since 2015. And at no point since then to now have I ever considered it a fight I would lose. Or even, it's a good fight, and it's a hard fight, but not a fight that I'll ever struggle with. So, for me, I can't believe that this fight is so big when you're asking me about someone I beat in the ABA semi-finals and should have always been picked over. But just because of, Yafai's, McCracken's, GB, Birmingham, couple of Olympics, getting picked over somewhat. Two fighters at the weight that Galal went at beat him, me and Harvey, in 18 months of him becoming the number one. And we was both on GB and sort of sidelined and made it harder for us whilst it was getting made easier for him. So now it's nothing personal on him, but who's his coach till this day, Oscar? You answer me. What gym does he train in to this day? And now you think I'm not going to have a feather in my cap about the politics of boxing and they start all the way at GB? How can I beat someone and then they be getting sent to everything while I'm on the sidelines? And then now all of these years later, you expect me to be what? Hesitant at this fight? No, not at all. Like, this fight was always ready on my side. I am surprised it's come so soon, but I'll be real. I just don't think there's anyone willing to keep putting him in the fights with the lack of exposure and the lack of attention, lack of reaction, lack of talking point around them, lack of drama in the show, everything combined for the amount of money he's getting. I don't think there's anyone in the world willing to do it no more. So unless he fights me and does something, remember, he's like 4 or 5 years older than me, Oscar. Remember that. Like, he's got less time and less than I do.
Yeah. I don't want to put words in your mouth when it comes to what sort of feeling or relationship you have towards any of the fighters, but when something goes on for so long, because it has been mentioned for so long, like you said, your brother and the involvement with Cal, when something's gone on for so long, can you kind of lose any feeling of, like, can you lose the grudge match sense? Because it's kind of dragged on for a bit too long. It's not like you had a grudge and it was settled. You said it's been going on for, nearly a decade. Can you lose that sense of rivalry, do you think?
Let me be brutally honest.
Because it gets kind of, like, from you, I bet you're bored.
No, let me be brutally honest. Galal, I like. The most out of them all, actually. Like, me and Galal are cool. That doesn't change the fact that because of relationships over my head, city relationships, still coaching to this day, still training in the same gym to this day, it doesn't change the fact that I was badly overlooked after already beating this kid, and in sparring always showing who the man was, in my opinion, and from the feedback that was getting delivered, concurrently during the time of the fight. And do you know what I mean? I know where I should be. I know the opportunities I should have got, and it was sidelined because of this group of organised people that have somehow turned Olympic and government funding into 6-figure wages and being able to use Olympic lottery-funded facilities to train professional fighters and sign them straight out of the GB setup. And there's only one real fighter that I know that still trains up there, and it's the one that was put in front of me 8 years ago. So and bear in mind, I am so glad and was so glad when he won the Olympic gold, because it was bringing that into my weight division in my country. Like, that's how I look at things. I need dancing partners, and he's a very good one. He's a very good fighter, and he's very cool people. Galal I've got genuinely no issues with, and I'd be fake if I ever tried to pretend I was. Now, Cal has been a bit more awkward with my brother, but me and Cal have always had and maintained a good communication and relationship. Even when there was drama at ringside, me and Cal always cool. But out of the 5 brothers, the only one, so there's 3 on their side, 2 on ours, the only brother that's never fucking done anything anywhere about anything, the one that you'd very much forget even exists, the one that the last 2 times I saw him box got put down 3 times by fighters that weren't punchers. We even managed one of them. There's the only one, to tweeting and commenting and tagging, and it's like, yo, bore off, man. You know, like, just when there's like, you see Family Guy? You watch Family Guy, innit?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Do you remember that episode, yeah? And there was Bitch Stewie and Bitch Brian. They made a clone, and it was like 30% capabilities of the original.
I don't.
He basically came out like a Mong.
Yeah.
That's Gamal. That's like
I'm now gonna
all
go,
the bad.
and the viewers are now gonna
all
go
the
and watch
bad,
this
like,
episode.
so the good that went into Galal and Cal, all the bad shit that got left over went into the brother that can't box, can't fight, can't chat, and is a shitbag, bear in mind. Because when I went to speak to him, he ran off to the other side of ringside. And then when Cal was speaking to me, he ran and grabbed him away from me. Oh, don't chat to him, don't chat. On some weirdo, but the energy was never there until he started. And I'm meant to be the one that goes on the internet. But then again, he was talking about me get put flat on my face. I've never been put down 3 times in a ring. Especially not twice. That's a hat trick.
So do you hold that little bit of GB resentment, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, but it didn't start at GB. It just finished there, really. In England, I was a 6-time national champion. And I beat everyone, all the ones that they wanted me to beat and should have beat at the right times. And I never got sent to 1 Europeans, 1 Worlds, 1 Youth Commonwealths, 1 fuck all nada. They would always pick someone above me, and then the next year I'd beat them, or the next year they weren't even around no more. Like, I was never given the opportunity. I was always overlooked. So GB was just another. I think when you have like kind of poor level coaches, they look at my style and go, we can't do nothing with that. But then I go into the ring and I beat everyone.
So to finish off on this segment, is there a day or a time where you're going to go, I'm drawing the line under this now?
I'll be real. I hurt my ankle, so who even knows if we get this fight this year, sorry. Who knows?
I feel like you're the sort of person that would fight on a little limpy ankle.
And I have done plenty of times before, but like I said, I am not getting stalled. Do you know when I accepted this fight?
Yeah.
About 4 months ago. I accepted how much I'm getting paid and the 2 cities I'm willing to fight in 4 months ago, 2 months before my Curiel fight. So why the fuck are we still waiting for Rob McCracken to make a decision whether this fight's happening or not? Why is that happening? Like, my ADHD, I can't do all of this 4 months waiting business trying to get another 25 grand or something. I can't. I'll just accept the fight. That's why it's so easy for me to be like, okay, yeah, that's sound. I was expecting him to be ringside to announce the fight after I beat Curiel. And I was pissed. Like,
that would have been a sensible
idea.
idea.
And then when DAZN asked me about him in the ring, obviously I was kind of in a weird like mindset at that point, so I just answered and went on, and then the interviews after, etc. I was pissed. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, why am I putting any shine on the career of someone for what? Like, because we've not agreed to fight. Like, and I don't know, I think there's still more twists and turns, because if I was them, I wouldn't want to fight either.
Is this going to end up with you back in America?
Who knows? This fight's meant to be in the UK, but if this fight don't happen, then who knows? Like, and I'll be real.
I know America's where the activity is around your waist, but is there a little part of you, and obviously this is something you can't control, but is there a little part of you that is just a bit gutted that them big domestic nights focused around you, not a big card where you might be co-main, a big night centred around you has to be stateside? Unless, of course, it's this fight.
The one thing I've been annoyed at is the lack of conversation. Now, anyone that was at my fight in Sheffield knows that I can draw a crowd there with no promotion, 7 weeks, and not the strongest undercard of big ticket sellers or big names. Yeah, we brought a crowd that was bigger than most of the matchroom shows that were going there. In fact, pretty much all in the last however many years. And I don't know, at times in conversations I've felt that there's been a complete lack of willingness to take the fight to Sheffield, and you know, I kind of got backed in the corner, not by Matchroom, but to fight in London on my first fight, and you know, I took that. It was a poor event in the grand scheme of what I know I can deliver in another city. I spent my whole adult life, my whole childhood, I was a childhood boxer, weren't really socialising all too tough, and then I spent my whole adult life in Sheffield. So when am I going to start speaking to people at the bar or at the football or down the high street or as I'm leaving the gym or in the supermarket? when am I going to speak to people in London constantly on a consistent basis to make them want to come in droves to my fight? The only frustration I've had is at no point of any serious fight I've had have we ever mentioned where I want to fight whilst I'm telling them where I want to fight. It's not been a conversation. So that's been my only frustration apart from that. But maybe that's just a lack of willingness from the opposition. Who knows? Because I would want to fight me anyway, let alone in my backyard. Definitely not. You know where the crowd's different? Where every little bit I'm doing, they're getting laughed at. And yeah, because I do draw a good crowd in Sheffield.
Someone throws a pint at him as he's walking to the ring.
I don't know about that. We normally have scraps ringside. You know, we're not sure if the main event's going to happen or not at my shows. That's normally what we have.
Well, I can't wait for the next one if it does happen in this country. Right, moving on. You know what I'm going to ask you. I took a little bit of an ego dent, if I'm honest, after you called me a weirdo.
What?
After my Zoom interview with Charlie. A little bit of an ego dent, yeah.
You took an ego dent?
Yeah, I always thought we were boys.
Because I called you a camera weirdo.
Make me sound like I'm just a little nerd who's on a camera all day.
Oh, but you got to remember,
which is partly true.
I'm on the other side of a camera. Yeah. Every time I see you, you're normally running up to me with a camera going, oh, you got 5 minutes? You know what I mean?
Do you know what? That's made me think.
To me,
the amount of boxers who...
To me, you are a camera weirdo. In the nicest way possible.
Do you know what? That's actually made me really
because I bet you know what lens. I bet you know what lens you've got. I bet you could have a conversation with someone else about, oh yeah, I'm using this lens, and for a video I use a wide lens, but you know if I'm doing this I'll use a close-up lens, and you know the 4K 1080p LED and all of that. Like, so you're a camera weirdo to me.
Yeah, all the Stomping Ground videos are in 1080. You are correct. But
yeah,
you know what? That's actually made me rethink, because now I'm thinking all the boxers, when they're asked or when they think about who I am, do they just see me as someone who runs around and goes, "Have you got 5? Have you got 5?"
Kind of, because that's what we're kind of exposed to. Like, you see, if you had a mate, and every single time you've seen him, he asks for a fiver, you would think of him as the person that every time he sees you asks for a fiver. Yeah. So if every time I see you, it's just, you got to say, like, you don't ever come to me like, yes, Sonny, I've got a table booked at the best club in Dublin. Do you want to come? I don't ever get that sort of bring in, or, you know, I mean, I got a couple of girls upstairs.
Why don't you come to the Temple Bar tonight with me, Calla, Parsons, Joe Pugh?
I'm in. Yeah. I've got nothing to do tomorrow. I'm in. Yeah. I'm already half cut, so I'm already halfway there.
You are some boy. Right, your brother and Thomas Essomba.
You mean my brother Thomas Essomba and Charlie Edwards? See, look at you mixing it already. See how you paused to let me think of that one.
Fake beef, real beef between you two?
Me and my brother are competitive. He could never live down losing to one of my fighters. Talk about fighting me. You can't beat one of my fighters.
If Thomas Essomba beats your brother, is it something you will be nudging him about till the day he dies?
There'll be some awkward Christmases, Oscar. Not on my side.
I said to Charlie, I said, will there be a point, you think, where Sonny wakes up now? I'm not here to say whether it's real beef, fake beef, competitive, whatever. Will there be a point where Sonny wakes up in the morning and goes, what the fuck am I doing?
Nah, because one, in the conversation where I'm only mindful about Thomas, this is the best opportunity for in all things considered. Yeah. It's a European title defence that he's worked so hard to get and champion. It's in London, where he came for the Olympics and relocated to this country. It's 12 years after the Olympics. Like, it's a full circle. He's done pretty much a couple of lifetimes of effort and had more obstacles because of where he's from and the lack of support to get here. So we had a good fight lined up. That fight I lost. There was no money in the other fight. Someone else won it, and then there was 2 fights for him. Andrew Kane or Charlie Edwards. For me, take away who my brother is. Bear in mind, I've been in the ring with both of them. I'd rather Thomas fight my brother. That's it. So, and it's the biggest opportunity.
Andrew Kane's a more dangerous fight, you think?
It's a different fight. It's a different fight. When you
Would
say...
it be fair to say it's a fight where there's a higher possibility of you getting hurt or stopped or knocked out?
Well, if you lose to Andrew Kane, that's probably how it's going to go. Yeah. I've been in the ring with him. I boxed him in the Junior NBA finals. Good. So I've known him for a long time ago. Yeah.
Someone you rate?
And he's someone I rate, yeah. And I'm cool with as well. But if you ask me for Thomas Essomba as a manager that doesn't care about anyone else apart from Thomas Essomba, I'd rather him headline Channel 5, defend his European title against former world champion, and there's a bit more backstory which makes it a bit more interesting against my brother, than fight Andrew Kane. Like, it's not really personal for us. Like, with Charlie, I'll be real. Whatever people think about beef, fake beef, my brother, more than anything else, more than he cares about how I feel about things, wants as many eyes on this fight as possible. Why? Because he's convinced, sold that he is going to win. He sees no remote chance that a 36-year-old Thomas Essomba is going to beat him. I'm happy to take this fight because I think he's overlooking him. I can only deliver for my fight. I don't know what, people going, oh, your brother, oh, your fighter. It's like, if he was to fight him, and he was to fight him, I'm not going to let me and my feelings and, oh, it's a bit awkward for me, and people are going to be the reason why, one, my fighter doesn't get the best opportunity that I think's out there for him right now, and two, my brother is not going to get also the best opportunity that's probably out there for him right now. So, really, people don't realise Charlie's only trying to fight because of me. When he come fresh out of Joe Gallagher, guess who took him to the meeting with the Sauerlands? I'll give you one guess, Oscar.
Was it you?
So I've been setting this up. For Thomas for a long time. I had to get Charlie out of Gallagher. I had to get him in a promoter. I had to get him his comeback fight. I did his corner. Charlie thinks that he's been setting his trap. You don't realise I was about 5 steps in front of him.
Thinking like a real manager.
Do you know the school that he went to? I taught at. Before he's thought about it. I've just got back from doing it. You know what I mean?
I like that. The school he went to, I taught at. Well, look, all eyes will be on next Friday on York Hall. Not next Friday, I don't know where I'm going. All eyes on the 27th of September, will be at York Hall. I'm excited to see how that fight plays out. I've got a couple more things for you before we head off to Temple Bar, possibly. I was with...
Can you get in tracksuits, or do I need to go put some cargos on?
You could get in that.
You reckon I could, yeah?
Yeah.
What, just start name dropping who I am and that?
Yeah.
I reckon it would be better if
I say to the bouncer,
I reckon it would be better if you do it. If I'm over on the other side of the road, acting all blasé, nonchalant, like, I'm just minding my business, and you go, hey, got a superstar over there.
And if he says no, I was going to say you knock him out, but instead you might just have to...
I'll make a few phone calls.
You just have to jab his head off for 12 rounds.
I'll make a few phone calls all again. Dublin, man. I've got a lot of friends here.
I bet you have. I was with Bam Rodriguez, done a little bit with him over in Los Angeles for the Crawford Madrimal fight week. I was saying to him, I love the way that Sonny bangs a drum about how, you're a good fighter, and I see you've commented on a couple of his Instagram posts and stuff. And he said, he was like, I actually really, really like Sonny, and I would love a rematch in the UK.
Yeah, and do you know what I love about Bam, yeah? He's the same as me.
He's so low-key.
Not only do I respect him as a fighter, I respect him as a person, but both of those things make me want to fight him again more. Do you know how many times I've had to answer a question, oh, would you fight him again? That's what I'm going to turn around and say no. I promise you, yeah, if the conversation tomorrow was a rematch, I am more excited than any other fight in the world. Now, Bam is a tremendous talent. The reason why I wanted to fight him so much to start, because I knew that. And now, the way the fight planned out, I've got my own story of events that happened in my perception. He's got his. But I thought it was a great fight. And even when I couldn't really see him at my left eye, and it was all a bit all over the place, and I was kind of just fighting on more instinct than trying to take his barrage of shots and land something back, like, I still felt I showed that I was more than competitive. I won a few rounds, and it was a damage that got to me rather than the actual fight, if that makes sense. But he's a tremendous fighter. He's, like that geezer doing the pole vault, and he keeps breaking it by 1 centimetre each time.
Yeah.
Are you onto him?
Yeah.
1 centimetre each time. Like right now, Bam's the 1 centimetre each time. So I love that I've got someone that I've been in the ring with that is raising the bar that I'm chasing. Even if we don't bounce around in the same weights for a little bit or ever again even. Like what he's doing and what kind of we did. 2 flyweights headline in America as like the main thing that happened in boxing that week.
Serious high level as well.
That doesn't happen. Ask Eddie how many times that's happened in his career as a promoter. Ask him, actually ask the impact that we're putting on into the flyweights. Yeah. And it's only now that other people are getting some backlash off us. The us fighters making the divisions relevant where people are, I'll watch them, and then there's other fights they can mention. I'll be real, anytime anyone fights from light flyweight to super flyweight, maybe even bantamweight, I get mentioned. Every single fight night. Don't matter if they're half decent all the way to elite. I get tagged in a New post, for God's sake. Serious, like, I'm not joking, I'll show you.
Yeah, but when you take from... If you take from even like 130 pounds downwards and you talk about UK talent, I would say you're our kind of like our pinhead of the lower weights. When you talk about the lower weights, I think people, boxing fans in the UK would go, oh yeah, Sonny Edwards. I think.
Yeah, well, I've always kind of tried to exist in the space where I'm known in boxing and, you know, relevant in boxing, but outside of that, I really don't care. Like, I don't aspire for one person that doesn't actually know boxing to a certain degree to know who I am. And that's why I've always kind of tried to keep it very just boxing based. I don't really go outside of that all too often. Usually,
you want your legacy to be in boxing only?
I just don't care about, like, fame. I don't care. Like, I don't get no buzz out of more people knowing who I am. If it's not boxing or boxing related, where it's gonna give me more opportunities in the ring, help the fighters I'm managing to like get to the ring, or help my sort of commentary or future coaching. If it doesn't help or isn't centered around that, I'll be real. I've got kids. I've got other things working on in the background. I don't really care or have time for anything else. If I'm perfectly honest, I just don't. I don't. There might be some things that I would do out of entertainment for myself, like a celebrity Big Brother where I just terrorise everyone and see how long I can last. Like,
I need Sonny Edwards in the jungle. I need.
Do you know why? Do you know why I couldn't go to the jungle? Because
food.
I'm very fussy, and I've got like food intolerances, and I don't really like insects too much. I do. I'm not scared of them at all. But like pouring 10,000 scorpions over me, yeah, fucking right. No one's eating, and me, I'm a boxer, so I can go 3 weeks on rations, and it wouldn't bother me. Do you know what I mean? I'd probably go in a little bit heavy and then bring my weight down during the camp. It would be easy for me, but I would, yeah.
Tactically about the future, I'm a celebrity.
I'll be real. Unless it's like swimming to do something or climbing and jumping, and yeah, no one's eating that day, so.